I talk good. Welcome everybody. Thank you. I was trying to speak and I started to combine welcome and thank you, and it just was not going to end well.
Yeah. Yeah, wank you seems like an odd way to start our final session.
Oh my god.
I mean, you can't
Love
tee
it.
that
Love
up
our
and
energy.
expect right. You expect me to just leave it alone? That's ridiculous.
All right. Welcome in everybody. Thank you for joining us on this. I say us like there's listeners out there. Joining us on this special Sunday edition of Wild Beyond the Witchlight.
Sunday.
I think we should factory reset our brains and the call, by the way.
Recover lost files, please.
Yeah. Let's clear out cookies and cache. Let's do it again. Reboot.
All right.
My little 20 isn't fucking loading. I'm gonna scream. Sorry.
You're good. I have muted my phone. I have minimized
I
Discord.
should do that.
I got the red dot on Discord on my toolbar, and I'm desperately trying to ignore and finding out what that red message is. Unread message, I mean. Shut down everything else so I can just.
You better open up a JPEG of a wall of paint and just stare at it and full screen it right now.
All right.
F11, the JPEG, and just look at it, Make a nice motel painting.
Someone just at everyone on one of my other servers. Really, guy? Come on.
Cruel.
All right. Left that server entirely. Just kidding. All right. Not the. Well, you never know. You know what? Sometimes you negotiate with other dimensional lich queens in the last session. Who would like to recap us? Who would like to recap us?
If I get the inspiration, will I be able to re-roll my memory check or something?
You can definitely audible that.
Did you tell us what it was?
I don't think so.
Because if you did, I'm sure I would remember.
No, I think
you keep it under lock and key.
I mean, if I remembered, I'd remember.
I was gonna say.
I think someone said something that gave me a great idea, and I was like, I've got a great idea, and then I told y'all what my previous idea was, and was like, but no, this one's better, and I kept it to myself. I think.
Oh my god.
Yeah. It's okay. Things will be fine. Either I'll figure it out, or I'll come up with something else. It's all good.
You're gonna crush it. It's gonna be great.
Do you want to recap, or do you want me to?
Go ahead.
So, my notes are not clear whether this was last session or preface to last session, but I'm pretty sure this was last session. We discovered a letter that was in this. We were in not one of the studies, but in the a documents chamber of the Castle Heart's Desire. Many letters that were full contracts that were written in Infernal to mortals that were assigning power to people. Some of these were again to mortals. Some of these were letters and receipt and exchanges for hag uh, um, not wish granting per se, but contracts, uh, letters that, um, letters that were denials or acceptances of dark hag magic being bestowed to other hags. Um, uh, saw that at least one of these was signed by, or all of these hag contracts were signed by Ilgwith, uh, 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 or yeah, Ilgwith,
Igwilv.
Igwil.
Igwilv, thank you, who is a witch from Orth. However, when we used the magic of our good unicorn friend to restore the people of the castle, uh, including Zybilna, when it became apparent this was information that we had, she wiped our memories of it, and we were left then.
Well, sorry,
Hmm?
I just want to interject. Well, we found out that Igwilv. We later heard someone say something about like Tasha,
Mhm.
and then started like jumping through variations of Tasha, and on a magic door, we learned that it was Natasha, and
Yes.
then that's what she wiped. Like whenever we started pressing her about Natasha, Igwilv, and all that, like all of that got wiped. I just,
Yes.
yeah, didn't want
No,
to
no,
skip
you're
over
right.
the Tasha part.
Yes, I didn't note that, and I would have skipped over it because I hadn't noted it. Thank you.
Mhm.
Yes, so we learned that Zybilna's real name is Natasha, but then we had that information unlearned. Um, uh, let's see. We ended up saving all the members of Valor's Call, including uh, uh, Harold. I've only heard his name 1,000 times. Um, um, and we have been given a chance to rest, recover, and think about what we would like our wish to be, because that was Zybilna's offering for our help, having gotten rid of the gonna call them the Legion again. It's not that what
The
they're
League
called.
of
The
Extraordinary Trauma.
League, um, uh, and have had a chance to take a breather. And when we've been talking about it, it has become we have determined that we are interested in casting legend lore. I have the notes on Zybilna, but there might be something else that we were going to cast instead, because her magic pot had some interesting magic on it. Like, it's deeply rooted in its creation and necromancy, but it is mostly, like, I believe, a transmutative and conjurative magic. And so we're trying to learn more about where we are and what has happened, including all of the demons that have been painted in the upper levels of the castle. So that's where we are, hanging out in our guest room, ready to cast legend lore.
Alrighty. Yep. You have recently returned from the laboratory of Zybilna, where you retrieved the supplies to cast legend lore. There were other magical elements, including a jar containing a portion of the beanstalk, which had previously been grown and separated one of the towers on the Palace of Heart's Desire. You have Thinnings the butler, who is waiting outside the door should you require anything while you are here. You can, with no trouble, set about, if you are prepared to, Arlen, casting legend lore. Are you going for the cauldron, or are you going for Zybilna?
I think that uh, the cauldron is less interesting to me than Zybilna and how she came to be here. And just I've been trying to think of like how to, you know, I know what I want to know, but then like trying to like work in how do I get Arlen to want to know that, you know. um and I think like just very interested in knowing who this person is that can grant some great wish like this. And so I will start setting up candles and lowering the lights and not really like drawing chalk too much. Miles, please stop jumping off the bed. Thank you.
By the power.
Well,
He
one
already
of-
broke the bed, is the
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. Uh,
I just say that every time.
So yeah, laying out the candles in specific spots and drawing markings on the floor, and begins like chanting in this ritualistic way, and yeah, casting legend lore on Zabilna.
You reach out with your magic, and as the flame in the candles dances around and the smoke rises from each one in a thin curling line, at first you feel like there is almost no answer, that perhaps the spirits that you reach to very oftenly are afraid. But there is eventually a form that begins to coalesce out of the candle light and the candle smoke. Not full sized, certainly, no more than a few inches tall. And the voice that you can hear just on the edge of your hearing, a whisper with a kind of dark, not necessarily malice, but there is a bitter irony dripping off of every word, as a voice which you have very recently silenced.
Oh,
The voice of Endlin Moongrave comes through,
Oh my
and
God.
all of you see as the spell takes place and the legends begin to pour, you all see the smoke turn into a very small version, a willowy, almost umbral form of Endolin. And while she herself is no more than a foot tall, and the area where her words play out is, like I said, no more than a few inches tall, none of it is lost. You all can see all of it in your mind as much as you can see it play out in the smoke and shadows. And Arlen, you certainly get all of it, as Endolin's voice echoes with a bit of a bit of a bitter laugh. Oh, you have come to me for knowledge of my sister, the things that no one else will tell you. And because the legend lore takes place in the form of legends, the scene that plays out shows a human child on a world that none of you really recognize, but you all understand at the very least from what you have been told is the world of Orth. And a child sits in the wreckage of a small farmhouse in some lost kingdom some ages ago. It is not entirely clear, or the relative time makes it impossible to say with any certainty. But this child who sits in the smoldering remains of a house is picked up from the ground by the hag that you all have come to recognize as Baba Yaga. And Endolin goes on to explain that the mother of all hags took pity on this small child, this small girl who would one day rise to become queen of Perenland. The mother of all hags brought her home, taught her her secrets, taught her her magic, and this child would go on to found the kingdom of the domain of Prismere, but not before she would treat with the lower planes. And the smoke curls around and darkens, and the flames actually in the candles build and intensify, although the candles don't burn down any faster. And the smoke casts the shape of various cavorting demons. The shadows on the wall from the candlelight play out a scene of a human woman with a very large demon. The details of this individual are very indistinct because you are dealing with shadows, so it is not. You're not getting full detail, but you can see the scene play out where these two are on and off again, whether they are together or trying to kill each other or using their combined force to conquer various portions of the world where this child was born. Eventually, things take a final sour turn, and this now certainly older than any human should be woman flees from this whole arrangement, flees the mortal realms entirely, and settling in a raw domain, a domain of pure chaotic creation, sets about building the world of Prismir. You can see the mountains that you now know to be Yon rising up out of the loose clay, out of the rock and stone that makes up an indeterminable amount of Prismir. You see that stone give way to even plains off of which trees sprout from no seeds. There is barely any soil to begin with, but nonetheless they grow into the extended and extensive forests of Prismir, trees towering almost to the top of some of the mountain peaks that you have seen. And finally, the palace itself, pulled from the final bits of swirling chaotic energy that makes up the domain of Prismir, this place. And as the palace is built, the change in the palace is reflected in changes in this woman. The dark raven hair that has grown all the way down her back and never changed or grayed with age turns into a stark snow white color, even as the white marble builds the palace. There is a coalescing of what you realize are some of the darker drives that have sustained and driven this individual for untold centuries. Those things coalesce into stones. Each one is in the shadows. There are some rituals, some things which are not entirely clear. Even the ones who know what happened don't necessarily know how it happened. Each of these dark drives and desires coalesces into the gems that you have seen and are placed in protective wards and parapets within the palace. Until eventually the woman whose beginnings you saw is virtually unrecognizable, at least on the surface, from the individual that began, and instead stands Zybilna. And with a certain familiar mocking laugh, Endelyn, as the candlelight begins to return to normal, and as the smoke begins to dissipate and the candles one by one snuff themselves out, the voice of Endelyn Moongrave echoes in your head, Arlen, since you are the one casting the spell. And so you see, the kindly fairy godmother has been anything but. And then the spell ends.
There's like a period of quiet when Arlen is kind of just like taking everything in. But he does wind up saying, well, we know a lot of stuff now. I think it might be important for us to keep some of this to ourselves if we hope to continue to know it. Adopted daughter of Baba Yaga, that's something.
We have learned in the past that this is how hags exist, is exactly as that was demonstrated.
Do you guys think it's a trick or like a genuine?
A genuine transformation?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, doesn't normally like a hag would turn a child into another hag. I mean, this seems like she was just like raised as a human. Like she never none of that ever showed her as like a hag.
Oh, I don't think that necessarily means. I think if she left, according to what I read some time ago, hags don't separate their covens. It's a loss of power to do so. If that's a sacrifice that she made, either it be selfish or self-preserving.
Mm-hmm. Either way, it definitely seems to hold that this person has pretty great power and can probably give us whatever we want. So that's pretty cool.
I wasn't really. You're right. She did promise, should it be within her power, she would give us whatever we'd want.
Do you think I could get like my own like domain? I don't think I want
What,
that actually.
like this one?
Well, like a different one, but yeah. No, I don't want that.
You can purchase domains on the Squarespace. Use code Zabilna
So,
at a discounted price.
well, perhaps if you are interested in a domain, you should bring up the fact that you are the royal of what was formerly Hidea, and perhaps you should be compensated for the loss of your kingdom.
Either way, if you wish to become a lord or have a domain, I feel like that's very well within her power. But should you do so, you should define what you would want your domain to be. She could give you, I don't know, 1 foot square somewhere in a remote location, or part of this
No,
kingdom.
I don't think that's really. I'm just like brainstorming. I feel like I had like a dope idea and like it's just I fully lost it. It'll come to me, I'm sure.
Look, this is all very interesting, but I am not sure what, if anything, we have to do with it. I thought we came here for 2 reasons. 1, to find that which we had lost, and 2, to restore Zabilna so that they could restore Prismia, so that the Carnival would be back in the right. And it seems we have done both of those things.
That is what all of you did, but I've come here for a third reason, and this actually gives me
Hmm.
insight in how I could achieve that third goal. This is this is helpful information for me.
Ah, well, wonderful.
The only problem is, as Arlen said, this seems to be incredibly sensitive information, and if we were to indicate to her that this is information we have, there's a non-insignificant chance that she would refuse our interest, or I don't know what else, but
Well,
I,
perhaps I do not understand why you need the information. If she has already said that she will grant you a wish, anything.
Maybe.
Well, anything within her power, maybe like now we've got kind of a better idea what that might be. But
Hmm.
What if we can't trust her?
I I come from a place that I would dare say holds significant enough parallelism to what Zabilna has lived through. And I I don't know, I think I turned out all right. If it is the case that she wishes to be or masquerade as someone who is a kindly leader of a realm and for the most part is able to fulfill that interest, then I don't see why we shouldn't trust her.
He's a hack.
Raised by a hag. I was raised by a changeling, and I have very limited ability to change my own appearance. And he'll use thaumaturgy to like flicker the difference in his eyes, but his cat eye remains unchanged.
Well, I don't like hacks.
I think you have every right to not like hags. But Zbilna's not a hag, right? Arlen? That's what you said.
yeah, I mean, I don't think so. I never saw any like evidence to say that she was, just that she was maybe raised by her mom is the mother of hags, but it's kind of an adopted situation, it looks like.
Mhm.
If I'm remembering what I read correctly, and I'm sure that I am, since I apparently can't forget anything most of the time, um, the transformation would happen when she was 13 years old. Should it be the case that she were turned into a hag, I think that that time has since lapsed.
Uh, what do you What do you mean?
If she were a hag, if she were to join the coven of Baba Yaga and become a creature of the Unseelie Court and determine that she was in fact always and will always be an eternal servant to Baba Yaga, I feel like that would have been seen. We would have witnessed some of that, or Arlen would have been told some of that.
Mm.
But I understand, and I think you're right to have hesitations.
Court just like nods, like his fists are kind of clenching and unclenching. He's just got a very puzzled, thoughtful look on his face that is not characteristic to him at all.
I think if you are concerned, and rightly so, I think it is within your power to refuse the wish, and we return to the carnival and hopefully the power of the carnival is restored and it won't be anything that you will ever need to consider again.
Mm. If you guys are taking wishes, then I'll take one too. But I trust you guys. If
I mean, you might even be able to use her like power against hags or something like that. I don't. I doubt you could wish all hags away.
then we'd have a real Madoka situation. Sorry, I like that's like
Fucking shit.
that's a sorceress I know back home. Don't worry about it.
My good friend Madoka, the
My good
sorceress.
friend. She ascended to godhood. It was like crazy.
It was fucking
Um,
crazy. You'll never remember who she is, though. So
like yeah. But like I don't know
I mean,
how.
I've heard of like the universal force of Madoka before, but I don't
Oh
know.
yeah, you know what? Maybe that's what I'm. Who's Madoka? I don't remember it. That's crazy.
Oh my god.
Sorry I did this. Bit.
I'm actually hating the parallels that I'm seeing between that anime and this D&D game plotline currently. Thank you, Oliver.
Madoka watch party when? I don't want to. I don't want to refuse the kindness of a. He scrunches his face. Not hag and not deity, but
All
I don't.
powerful witch. Kind
Yeah,
of smiles.
I don't want to break the rules that she's set forth, and I think it might be a bad idea to refuse a wish. Mm, whatever you guys do, I'm with you though. So, he like crosses his arms and like just kind of resumes his little scrunched up face. Thinking look.
I believe her words were, anything you may desire, you may wish it. So if there is nothing you desire, I don't believe you're breaking any rules of hospitality, if that is what you are concerned about.
He nods.
As long as we are discussing the wishes, if anyone here cannot choose, if any of you cannot choose between two wishes, I don't have anything terribly important. So I would be more than happy to use my wish for something that one of you find important.
Oh yeah, same. I haven't. If you guys, I'm sure I'll snap decision right at the end. Pick something. So until then, mine's up for grabs as well.
Is
If anyone has
I
bright
mean, it's not a
ideas.
wish for like your bud's heart's desire.
Well, I think my heart is pretty flexible and it can desire.
yes, our hearts can desire that our friends are happy.
Yeah,
That's fair. That's fair.
I gotta work around. He wiggles his wings a little bit and grins.
I am just
Is-
imagining a palace that's called the Palace of Your Friend's Heart's Desire.
Oh, I would very much like to go
Wish
to
for
that
that.
palace. Yes. Yes, I would like to be the lord of that. Fuck you, that wish is mine. Is Harold in this space with us?
I think we
Is
were given
Harold in
private.
the room with us?
Gotcha.
Do you see Harold now?
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for this energy I've got.
I believe we were.
I wish I knew where Harold was. Oh, fuck.
I believe we were in like a private room to like have this conversation.
Gotcha,
So I think
gotcha.
he's
Mhm.
with everyone else.
You all have been given access to two of the rooms. Harold is currently waiting in one of them while you all
Gotcha.
figured out what your wishes were going to be.
If you wish to confer with your friend, then
Don't wish for that.
Well, I don't think that I will need wish. I watch you very closely, Alan, both over the course of our adventure together, but particularly in the endeavor that you just undertook. And I think that I will cast this spell on Erald. Would you like to join me? Any of you?
Yeah. What?
I'll go over to the room that Harold's in.
I look around at y'all.
Yeah, I'll follow.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
fucking follow
I'm
you.
very
What the hell is
curious.
happening?
What? We're going. We're scurrying.
Yeah, I just go through whatever motions that I imagine or my best interpretation of what Arlen did, and it ends with me grabbing Harold, one hand on each side of his head.
Well, what the hell?
You will tell me. I have cast a spell, and you will tell me what has happened. Tell me about Valor's call.
Wiggle my
Why you are
fingers.
here.
Wiggling my fingers. Ooh. Prestidigitate.
I
I fully
learned
did that
great-
with my mouth. I did not use the spell for that.
Nice. I
I'm
have
like
learned great
pinching the bridge
magic
of
in
my
the past
nose.
8 years. You must tell me.
Yeah, okay, just back up. God.
Oh, I thought
You're
that
so strong.
I thought I'd have to use the magic. I'm sorry, Harold. I don't know what's going on. I am confused.
Your hands are just so cold still. God. Sit by a fire or something. Warm them up.
Understood.
All right, you undoubtedly have a lot of questions. I go missing. You find me with a bunch of goodies. We gotta. Okay. I'm not. This will come as no surprise, I think, at this point. I'm not originally from the world of Faerun. I was in a place called Orth. And kind of like with you, I joined up with a bunch of people. We wandered around, but instead of putting on shows and earning a little little gold, we did what we could to help people, and it was a long time ago. A very long time ago. Ringle Run didn't have a beard. He still had dark hair. Can you believe that guy had a mohawk at one point? Now he's balder than I am. Jeez.
Oh my god.
Look, we thought we were doing good. There was an entity from my world on the rise. He was ancient, way older than any of us. Been around ever since, ever since my parents were born. So centuries. This guy was this wizard was seeking power and doing horrible things to get it, and we thought we had the answer. We thought we found a phylactery. I don't know. Some of you, that guy looks like he knows what I'm talking about.
I raised my hand.
Yeah. Anyway, we got a hold of it, and things went real bad. And I couldn't do that life anymore, so I left. I wandered around the outer planes, some of the inner planes, places where you don't get older, you don't need to eat, you don't need to drink, you can just kind of be. And that, I don't know how long I did that until I found my way to Faerun, and it was nice. There was no sign of that wizard. There was no sign of anything like that. I mean, don't get me wrong, Faerun's got its problems, but I didn't have to be an adventurer. I could just be a showman again, which is what I'd always wanted to do, you know. Gotta minimize chat. Jesus. And that's where I met you. I never wanted to get back into the adventuring life, but when we went to the Witchlight, I figured. I mean, I had met Isolde going through one of the near planes. We weren't good enough friends, I guess. And so when I heard the Witchlight town, I figured, hey, I'm not getting any younger. I mean, granted, I did have several good, I don't know, maybe centuries. I've never been home to get the relative time, but a couple good centuries of not getting any older. But hey, I'm not getting any younger either, right? You're not getting any older, but I was. I figured, sure, why not? This is an easy gig. We get regular customers. We also get regular pay, regular food, regular everything. But when we got there and when I went and talked to the ringmasters, they said they owned the carnival. I knew something was wrong. Because, like I said, I knew the owner. But so you know, I demanded to speak to whoever was in charge, and they well, they gave me what I wanted, mostly to get rid of me. I think, like, get me out of there. I'd say hair, but the one guy was bald, so
Well,
that's how I ended up in Prismeer. Found my old friends from Valor's Call here, of all places. Saw some of our old enemies. It just, none of it made sense, but like I couldn't not do anything, and then I got blasted through a wall, and then you all saved me. So that's it. That's the story of Harold Babblepitch. Failed adventurer and former illusionist. But at least I got my hair.
I would not say
Hey,
failed at all.
what is this? What is this prejudice against white? That's the second time you brought it up.
I'm sorry, I missed what you said, Adam.
What's your deal with bald prejudice? This is the second time you brought that up. You went out of your way to do that.
Yeah, well, when you're a couple centuries old, you know, the small things become important.
Harold has always been very proud of his appearance and his luxurious looks.
I got a brand to maintain.
Well, what I do not understand is why you consider yourself a failed adventurer. It sounds like you have had quite the adventure. And all these years while we were together, you humored me and let me tell story after story of my adventures and my battles, when in fact you had a rich history of your own. I would say that I look forward to hearing it, but it sounds like you are no longer interested in traveling alone, as this entire circumstance started with your inquiries about joining up with the Carnival.
Don't get me wrong, the easy life still has its appeal. We tried to do good one time. We thought we had, and it just didn't go well. That lich did not take kindly to us. It did not take kindly to people being around us, and it cost a lot of people. We didn't even destroy it. So that's why I say it's kind of a failure as an adventurer. We didn't do good and we got a lot of people killed. It doesn't really get worse than that.
Well, certainly that is unfortunate. But that is not all there is, and that is not all you have done. And you are entitled to live the life that you want to live. So now that order has been restored here, and presumably, if order has been restored here, order has been restored in the Carnival. Perhaps there will be a job for you there after all, even though the ownership has changed from the individual that you know personally. Is that still your desire?
Been thinking about it. Not gonna lie. We still get to put on shows. Still get to do our thing. I will miss the wandering, though. I will admit that. Seeing new places. We've been traveling over Faerun for centuries, and there's still plenty of it we haven't seen.
Yes, and I do not know what my new friends have in store in the future, but I will consider joining up with the Carnival full time, but I don't know, Harold, if that is what I will be doing.
I mean, I have spent a lot of time at the carnival, like about half of my life so far, and I don't want to stop seeing new places. And like, yeah, the carnival goes to a bunch of places, but like, I want to, I don't know, go places on my own and learn stuff and meet people and all that. So, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at.
Court, what about you?
He's like trying to like be like normal and not like 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 vibrating where he stands. Whatever you want. I'm gonna be at the. I love the carnival. I love Carnival, and that's where I like to be. And I'd sure like to keep seeing any of you, but gotta follow your heart's desire. It's in the name. He knocks on the floor of the place we're in.
Yes, thank you.
So, Arlen, it sounds like your days as a Carnival employee may be over. Court, it sounds like you are excited to be heading back. Emlock, as the only other member of our little quartet that was not a Witchlight employee, what plans do you have for the future?
Well, I intend to ask Zybilna if I may have refuge here. I can. He reaches into his coat pocket and pulls out the amulet of non-detection and says, I can wear this again and be protected from my family. And this place was rather difficult to get to on our own. They should have nearly an impossible time trying to get here. I've considered, truly considered, the possibility that I could wish that they were changed people and that I could return home to them, but I don't think that that is the just thing to do. It is not fair to change people to be what I want them to be, and I'm a different person. I would remember, and I don't think I could live like that. I think I would rather be safe here where they could not find me and perhaps aid Zybilna in some capacity. I'm quite good at reading. I just need to learn this Fey language that evades me so deeply.
Well, it sounds like quite shortly our little band will be all broken up. Perhaps perhaps we should head to the kitchen and watch Alan gorge himself on some sweets
You're
to
not just
celebrate
some
our successful
sideshow
endeavor.
entertainment, you know.
He's a growing boy.
Well, I don't mean it as entertainment. I mean it. I know that is something that you like. I know traditionally that is something that people do. But as an individual that does not eat, it would be hard for me to partake. I mean,
No, I get it. Yeah, if we go to the kitchen, it is logical that I will eat a bunch of stuff, and henceforth you would be watching me do it. I get it. I get it.
yes. And Kot, I have a special request for you.
Mm.
I do not think that I will be joining the carnival. It even though it does travel, it seems a bit too static for my liking. But that means Harold here will need someone to look after him.
Mm.
Do you think you could undertake the new employee training for my friend?
What do you say, Hare?
Oh, I
Oh,
see what
man,
you did
do
there.
I not like that nickname.
Mm, I don't know, Banner.
I mean, what do you mean you do not like that nickname? You love the hair. You love it. It is your thing. You have made it very clear that it is one of the things you love most in the world. And now when someone refers to you as that, you say you do not like it. This is what I've been putting up with for 250 years.
Also, you have a thing against hares?
Oh, my goodness.
Can,
Harold,
can
that there
somebody
you
just freeze me back in time, please? Nah, that'll be great.
I think I can handle him. Do a little eyes watching you thing, but like with a wink.
very badly want to make it. You're 100 years too young for this kid. Joke.
No, like the I'm watching like the
yeah. No, I got you. The I'm
Okay.
watching you.
yeah.
Like we got time to figure out if I'm gonna stop walking and deal with the carnival. You know, that was supposed to be for the two of us, Bannon. But if you're not ready, I still got at least a good century,
Ah, wonderful.
I think. Depends on how getting out of the wilds here goes. You know.
Hmm.
Wait, is this everybody's first time plane hopping?
We went through a mirror.
I mean, Court and I have been with the carnival, so that's been a little bit of like, but no, I mean, we haven't been to like a place that, yes, yeah.
Okay, well, We'll see. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Look, I do appreciate the offer for helping me get into the carnival.
Yeah, it sounds like we have much to discuss and much to work out. But I know at least one person who could probably think a little better with caramel apple or slice of cake or perhaps both.
I've been dying for some peach cobbler, let me tell you.
Right, where are you headed after this? What's the
Well, I guess we should probably try and find a cobbler to put together this peach.
What do we
You were
need
looking for?
shoes for?
how does that bus cobbler taste there, Tyler?
I said, what do we need shoes for?
Well, we got to fill them with the peaches. That's how you get the peach cobbler.
New character idea: a
No.
sentient peach that makes shoes.
Love it.
That
Oh
makes
my
what?
God.
That makes
This-
shoes.
Okay. One
The
second.
peach cobbler.
1 second. 1 fucking second.
Oh no. Anyway, what the life story of Harold having been gone over at least in broad strokes. You certainly have plenty of time to think and to rest. Make your way to the kitchen, where the remains of that 8-layer cake are sitting back on a table in the kitchen. The pixies are flying around it. There are a couple that are just openly sobbing, and the others have their arms around their shoulders. Just it's gonna be okay. We'll make a new cake. Of the giant, she is still seated at the table. You can see her through the door and just like head on the table, passed out asleep. You can hear very, very incredibly loud snoring coming from the dining.
So, do y'all have any peach cobbler?
There is a wave of hands, and a fresh peach cobbler appears on a table. Hey,
Okay,
someone
that
food
was
and
incredible.
drinks is that's a thing.
That was incredible. Okay, well, I guess I should have specified, but I just kind of assumed you would know. I'm gonna also need some vanilla ice cream, please.
No problem.
He's using up all his wishes.
These are wishes? No, wait, no. If this is a wish, this isn't.
It's not a wish. We cook. We don't.
Okay, sweet, sweet. All right.
I don't suppose any of you might know what to do about. And there is a vague gesture to the kitchen or to the dining room. We have incapacitated her temporarily, but
Yeah, I
Well,
mean,
it
there's a
was
very
Yes.
large
seems
keeper that might be interested in taking her off your hands.
if you were wondering actually what happened, um, it was the case that we were trying to make our way past in order to find Isabella and free everyone when she caught court and threatened to eat him. So we made a good judgment call. Either that or kill her, and that didn't seem appropriate either.
they stare incredulously as this is recounted and just quietly nod like, "Yep, that was a good call. That was a good call." Good. I mean, on account of the fact that we're freed now, we greatly appreciate everything that was done.
Very good.
Yes, and perhaps yeah, perhaps to get to focus less on the needs of our stomach and the food that she's constantly trying to consume. Perhaps a nice romance would take her mind off of that. And
I hope he cooks.
well, there's a wonderful Cyclops in what was formerly Yon that we know has an interest in sweet things, so they at least have that in common. I'm not sure how one goes about arranging a first date in this environment, but
If you can vaguely describe this individual or the area, we can certainly account for a messenger.
Minor illusion. Only bigger.
What is this? A cyclops for ants? So sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay. Okay. One of the pixies who tears their eyes away from the devastated remains of the cake that they have spent, 8 years and however long the actual baking time was working on, flutters out of the room and is gone. And the others are quite happy to accommodate any wishes you might have in terms of food. They also make it clear that if you would prefer to take your meals in your rooms, we can have it delivered up to you, or there is the dining hall, although uh, you may wish to sit on the veranda instead of in the dining room proper.
The veranda sounds very nice. Arlen is going to pick up the tray of peach cobbler and is going to mage hand to carry the gallon of ice cream and head out to the veranda.
Let us know if you need another one or more. We are we are eager to make sure you are happy guests here.
Well,
And
this one should take care of me just fine, but thanks.
seating yourselves on the veranda, it is perfectly pleasant outside, as you all are fairly aware. The weather here is relatively unchanging, and as you seat yourselves, a serving table, like one of the ones on wheels, rolls itself over to you, laden with a teapot and a water pitcher and cutlery and all sorts of accoutrements for eating. And as it reaches your table, the teapot begins to sing a little happy tune, welcoming you all to the Palace of Heart's Desire. We hope you have a wonderful, pleasant meal. If there is anything that you should need, to let them know. And do I actually have this? I do. Okay. A the the objects go through their little routine and then become completely still. And you all are able to enjoy. There is a tureen of soup. There is, like I said, a coffee pot and a teapot, and you all are able to enjoy a pleasant meal out on the dining terrace. The
Awfully hot coffee. I'm so sorry.
Wait, what?
Nothing. Truly.
Can't fucking believe you.
Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going.
I've just
Please
lost.
keep going. I'm so sorry. Continue.
Unless there is anything you all intend to get up to, you are able to pass a couple of very pleasant hours, which are punctuated at the end by the loud sounds of footsteps, just echoing throughout the Palace of Heart's Desire, and eventually coalescing into the into the no longer hooded but still wearing the white classic like overalls and padded jacket. Mudlump the Cyclops plods through the hallways of the Palace of Heart's Desire and into squeezing very uncomfortably through some of the doors into the dining hall. And although I don't believe any of you speak Giant, you can hear an incredibly loud and animated conversation, which is at times punctuated by the Fomorian punching the Cyclops and just not like punching I'm going to hurt you, but that sort of oh stop, but done by like an adolescent teenager. Stop it, you. And short of anyone interrupting, the two of them sit down at the table and begin having a much more subdued conversation in Giant.
At least we did one good thing while we were here.
We
I'm
killed a
kidding.
lot
We
of
did plenty.
hags.
Look, it was dramatic. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, well I'm stuffed. Y'all feel like doing some wishing?
Sort of think that's the only thing to do, yes?
Yeah, I mean, I was always taught you never wish on a empty stomach.
So you don't wish for...
A peach cobbler, yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty smart.
You can return to the ballroom, where all of the damage that you had previously observed, the holes in the walls, the ruined doors, the shattered staterooms, and the furniture strewn about, all of that has been cleared away and repaired, and a certain elegance that had been lost while everything was in ruins and serving as the nest for uh, a rather beastly dragon has given way, or rather has been replaced, I should say, by the full feel of grandeur at this of this ballroom. The tapestries are once again immaculate. The furniture looks comfortable and inviting, and there are still a handful of the guests who had been frozen in time. You see a small group of goblins, although they're different in that each of them, sprouting from their back, has a pair of large dragonfly wings. And rather than settling on anything in particular, they are having a particularly excited conversation with each other in Goblin, which Court, you
Yes.
and anyone else who speaks Goblin,
It's just me, babes.
they are going on about how they are wondering how much of their home court's intrigue they have missed in the last however long they have been frozen. They are speaking about the speaking with a certain reverence for a queen of air and darkness whom they were sent on behalf of to speak with Zybilna, and there is a certain edge of, God, I hope we're not in trouble. we were supposed to report in a long time ago. And there is no small amount of basically psyching themselves back up to return to their to the court which they serve.
Oh, that don't sound good.
Zybilna is seated.
Which Court says out loud, by the way, and he'll like nudge you guys and be like, "Oh, guys, this is crazy." He'll relay the gist.
Oh no.
That's crazy.
They have a description for these goblins. I am very sad that there is no actual like art for them, because the idea of goblins flying around on dragonfly wings is just kind of awesome. The rest of the members of the ballroom have, at the very least, retired to some of the seating areas, and you can watch as the last bits of debris and damage to the room begin to either the debris simply walks itself on small little dark legs of shadow back to its proper place in the walls. So stones are moving along the floor and then jumping into the cracks and openings and damage in the wall, and then resealing themselves. The furniture on its gilded feet is walking itself back into walking itself back to its proper location, and most of the damage seems to have been repaired. Seated on a it's not really, I wouldn't say a throne, but on nonetheless a very comfortable chair not far from the cauldron is Zybilna, and she is having a conversation with the other members of, I should say, the members of Valor's Call, not including Harold, of course, but with Mercian and Strongheart and Ringelrun. And the look on Valor's, like on the collective faces of Valor's Call, is, for having just been freed from the curse that locked them in time, there is a certain dark pallor to their faces, as though they are having a very uncomfortable conversation with Zybilna, who, for her part, doesn't look like angry or upset. There is no ire in her face or in her tone, as she is simply pointing out that those days are long past, and while the effort with which, or for which, you have come for my assistance has been resolved independent of either of us, I remain nonetheless willing to help in certain or other situations which might mirror the one for which you sought my aid. And it's actually Strongheart who answers with one hand resting on the, like, not resting to draw his sword, but definitely resting on its pommel in a slightly less than casual way, and just says that the legends of your deeds in our world are not easily forgotten. And the things that you say, the ways that you have changed yourself, they are apparent, but for now, there will be no accord between us. We will go our way, and you will do as you will. We certainly do not wish to make an enemy of Zybilna, but nor for a time will we be allies. Which Zybilna doesn't really even answer, just waves them off, and the three members of Valor's Call turn and spot all of you and make their way through the ballroom to stand in front of you. Well met. We our business here is concluded. We had come for assistance with the League, but it would seem that our efforts were unnecessary. They have disbanded or been dispatched thanks to you. We will retrieve the last of our members. We will return Malver and Elkhorn, and we will return to Oerth. Tell me, friends, what waits for you?
Adventure, intrigue, mysteries, and romance.
You need some water, bud?
Worlds of what?
You need some water.
Oh no, I'm good. I was putting on a little thing.
Zardash also waits in at least some of our futures, so if you could keep an eye out for him, that would actually save me a lot of trouble.
Zargash is, from what you have told us, two members remain. Zargash and the Warlock. We
She calls
will...
herself Charme, yes. Yes.
Charme. With the other members dispatched, I imagine Zargash will have to find other individuals to try to bring under his sway. I don't know what will become of Charme. She was one of the newer members to the League, and so we have less familiarity with her, but with everything you have done, I imagine it will be some time before she endeavors to darken anyone's doorstep. Well,
If I might ask, you were seeking help to defeat the League. Is that's what you said?
yes, we had come to Zybilna for assistance with the League, unaware that such an effort was the Hourglass Coven knew that we were coming and thus lured the League here.
I see.
Their efforts on Oerth have been damaging, to say the least, but with their dispatch, we can hopefully begin to return home and repair some of the damage.
Say, you wouldn't happen to know if Kelek was the owner of a phylactery? Kept one? I know that seems it would be difficult to know, but do you happen to?
Alec, I don't see why he should. He was not a lich. He was just an old wizard, pining for power that could never truly be his. Or do you mean Zargash?
No,
The
no,
priest. Okay.
no. I ask simply so that your trouble with him, to know whether or not it was truly ended, or if you needed to only wait a couple of days before he would return and cause more strife on your home world.
Mm. I'm aware of the magics that some wizards take, and he very not so subtly, uh, pointedly does not look at Ringelrun.
Oh,
Uh, I am aware of some of the efforts that wizards take to extend their lives, and Ringelrun gives him a look of, I haven't done anything. Stop. Stop lumping me in with these assholes. Um, I'm just an old man, okay? Um, we have no reason to believe, but also no reason to doubt that Kellic has taken contingencies with his life. But if he has, they will almost certainly be anchored in our world, which, without the coven to bring him here, should pose no further danger to Prismere.
Understood. If it is the case that he has, as you say, found other ways of keeping his youth, or evading death, uh, I Godspeed to you to find them and destroy them before his soul returns.
It is the other one that I am far more concerned with. The priest Zargash has been a problem for some time, but who knows? Here in Prismere, outside the, well, the domain, if not necessarily the reach of his master, perhaps we have seen the last of that one.
Sorry, he covers his mouth. Good luck.
Farewell, friends, and remember, should you ever need Valor's call, we stand ready to provide any assistance that we can. We will retrieve our other companions and return to Earth. They shake hands and or bow or make their goodbyes to each of you and um, pass you by into the hallway and make their way out of the palace. And you are left in the doorway to the ballroom. Sibylna seated not far from the cauldron, eyeing all of you, not like eyeballing you, but just sort of watching you with a look of curiosity on her face. And although there is a certain amount of visible fatigue, she nonetheless stands and in a moment looks once again as imperious as she was when frozen in time, and gestures to you all to follow her. And rising from her seat, she crosses through the archway into the room where you all had previously seen Ringelrun frozen, and seats herself at one end of the round table therein, and gestures for you all to sit across from her.
Yes.
Well then, you have considered my offer. If you can think of nothing your heart's desires, I do have one offer that I can make for all of you. It is within my power, at your desire only. I can turn back the clock. I can, for a moment, unwind the threads of fate and the efforts that brought you here, that brought you on this journey. I can return you to that moment and have it unravel differently. You will know nothings of the horrors that you have seen here. You will know nothing of the fate of my sisters, the loss of many on the way, the strain, the damage that has been done here in Prismere. I can return you to that moment, and you may live the rest of your lives in happiness.
Oh, fuck that.
I tend to agree, actually.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Fuck that. No. No
Uh,
thanks.
There is for a moment a look of relief on her face.
Remix. Wait, do it again, do it again, do it again.
We'll fucking do it again. There is for a moment a look of relief on her face, as though knowing the amount of effort involved in doing what she has offered, she is trying not to show how much she's relieved to not have to do that. And so, with a truly warm and almost grandmotherly smile, she, oh gosh, she she then places her hands on the table. Well then, with the services you have provided, as I said, your heart's desire is only an ask away. Uh, if what you require is well within my power, then name it, and I will grant as best as I am able. Perhaps you would like to, and she looks at you, Court. There are many things that I can make available to you. Perhaps you would like to run the Witchlight Carnival for a time, or you would like to, and she looks at you, Arlen, you would like to know more, not simply about myself, but about all of the history and effort of Prismere and many worlds beyond.
Oh.
Can I get like can I get a new suit? Like kind of like this one that I'm wearing, but maybe in a different colorway, maybe with some color blocking, maybe a peplum that like a reversible one for visual interest.
She stares at you dumbfounded for a moment, and then and then just smiles like a big toothy happy like grin. I can, I think, do that and more. I can provide for you an outfit that will scintillate all who see it, that will respond to your merest thought.
Oh, I don't need all I don't need all that. I like to I like to rely on my skill. Nothing too crazy. He's
Well,
grinning.
nonetheless, an outfit for a performer that can become any costume you might need. This is simply this is well within my power. If you would like a simpler version, uh, there is an individual whom I understand from my scryings you have seen before, a tailor that you have run across, a goblin fellow who is nonetheless once in my employ, stolen by my sister Endelyn for her stages. He can create anything, anything you might want. You simply have to wish.
I look at my pals.
Banner gives you a thumbs up.
If that's all you want.
Arlen, what do you think?
I mean, I'm sure we can get you a cool shirt. Like, I mean, you whatever you want, you know.
I tilt my head at him, like with a questioning look.
I mean, that just, you know, whatever your heart desires, and you get a neat shirt. I think that the court I know could think a little grander than that.
Do you want an everlasting cobbler or something, bud? I'll do that. I'll pivot.
No. I, look, you do whatever you want. You do. I want you to just get what you want. Don't like sell yourself short.
Okay. I do wish that, yeah.
With a smile on her face, Zybilna does not actually cast a spell. You see her raise a hand, and one of the fairies in the livery of the palace flutters over to her in an instant, and she she just leans in and whispers, in the in the stage room of Matterhorn, the the, the in the stage room of Matterhorn, go and get Cadlot. I need him here immediately. Tell him to bring all of his best supplies. This is court, and court needs a few things. And
I wave.
the fairy does a mid-air, or pixie rather, does a mid-air bow, and with a like small pop is gone. And the rest of you, have any of you others decided?
Arlen?
You, if you need more time, you are welcome to stay here as my guests until you are ready.
No. I think I've got it. Your offer for knowledge of histories and etc. is very tempting, but I think I'd rather learn things in time rather than just get it all given to me. I guess I want to be able to travel. I want to be able to see the worlds, plural, for myself and meet people and learn and you know talk to the ghosts of those places and learn from them. I wish to be able to travel between the worlds myself.
She thinks for a moment, and the smile on her face very, very slowly fades, not to a frown, but her face, she is very clearly deep in thought. And after a moment, she gestures for you to come close. She waves you over.
I move closer and uh, think about kneeling, but then realize I'm pretty short already and just bow a little bit.
The thing you ask for, this spark of this spark that you may have. It is within my power to awaken it, to allow you to walk between the planes as you will. Know that if I do this, there are those who will try to find you. The spark I describe, there are those who wish to harvest it. Or I can allow you a safer method. I can give you the ability to return here at any time. And from here, you may travel through the fairy rings or back to the carnival, which makes its way to various worlds. I can do either one of these things for you.
None of the greatest stories start with somebody playing it safe.
She plants 2 fingers in the middle of your chest, just right in the middle of your sternum, and for a moment, the energy that you can feel swelling inside, it feels like there is a star in your chest. It is hot. It burns and for a moment threatens to consume you entirely. But sort of like waving your hand through a match or very quickly grabbing a piece of metal that is too hot and then letting it go, the feeling passes through. And when you look back at her and your eyes open again, you can actually see not too much looks everything looks much the same. However, you can now see as though floating in the air in certain places, like those little bits that sometimes float into your vision and then you turn to look at them and they float away. You can see spaces in between the worlds, places where the planes just barely touch each other. Mechanically, if I could call you a planeswalker, that is exactly what I would do right now. So, Arlen the Planeswalker.
Freaking nice.
Anytime you think of this place and wish to return here, you will find yourself in the fairy ring outside, in my garden. You are always welcome here.
Your gift is taken graciously, Queen Sibilna, and he'll bow and back off in a bow and return to the group of friends.
Uh, Looking a little bit drained at the effort required, she looks at you, Hemlock, and you, Banner.
Does
We
any of you
have. Sorry, go ahead.
do any of you have need for another wish?
No, not I.
We have gone the range, haven't we? From well, we have gone the range. Please, as I said, if you are not prepared to tell me now, you can take as much time as you require.
Banner will reach into his little pouch and start rolling a cigarette and offer it to Zybilna.
She holds up a hand at first, and then takes it from
Eh?
you and sets it on the table.
Yes. Now, roll a second one, and as he's rolling the second one, he'll start talking. Well, it has been approximately 2,700 years since I started this particular habit. It always, the people that I knew that did it always looked relaxed and enjoying the moment, so I thought I would try. It has proven difficult for some obvious reasons, but I continue it because it does help with one thing in particular, which I have always had a problem with, and that is it is a easy way to tell the passage of short periods of time. I have been around for so long that moments come and go, and hard for me to focus. So I thought that perhaps I would wish that I would get to experience this as most people do, but that is not to be today. For as it turns out, a friend has made a request for my wish, and it is my heart's desire to see my friends happy. So if you would be so kind, I would like it very much. I wish that I were able to instantaneously control the temperature of my hands so that I might not make my friends uncomfortable anymore.
Oh my god.
Don't climb up there, Miles.
Oh my god.
This the sound of Zabilna stares at you in crit, like just in disbelief for a moment, and then begins to laugh. A sound like like someone tapping on crystal, like just a a a truly delighted laugh that she tries to control at first and then loses all pretense. And just I I I believe this is a thing already in your power, but how
Wait, hold on
hot
1 second. Hold on 1 second. I will try and adjust the temperature of my hands. Am I successful in this endeavor?
You are not, but while you are standing there, she takes she takes your hands, one in each of hers,
Mhm.
and puts them together and just starts moving them back and forth, like rubbing your hands. The sound, by the way, for the rest of you, is god awful. This is metal scraping on metal. But with friction comes warmth. So
I did not know. I did not think of the. Hold on 1 second. I'll run over to Harold and put my hands on his face. Yeah.
yeah, that's better. This is real awkward.
Well, you think it's real awkward. So this is that technically the wish, or is that are we still in a grace period where we try? Is there returns? Do I need a receipt?
She wipes a tear from her eye and just waves. Doesn't say anything like, come on, go ahead.
Oh, well, then the smoking thing would be nice. I would like to be able to experience that. It's been 2,700 years of me holding this lit piece of paper to my face.
I was just about to say.
No, I mean, he certainly does not want a respiratory system.
But my first impetus was to be like, you can now polymorph yourself into a human at will so that you can
Oh my god, dude, that would be crazy. I want to be a real boy for like 5 minutes at a time.
So I can smoke and then go back.
just for the length of a cigarette. That's the duration.
Oh my
polymorph.
god.
for 10 minutes at a time.
You know what? Yes, please. Absolutely.
No.
Oh my god. She is trying very hard not to monkey paw your wishes. She is genuinely grateful for everything that you have done. And so she, in this sort of the same manner as with Arlen, she gestures you forward, but rather than placing her hand on your chest, she removes the leather, if you have one up currently,
Yep.
moves the leather disc aside, and on your faceplate with one finger, she traces what is essentially like a bright yellow style happy face. And the rest of you see the sort of sparkling magical energy that extends down her arm and out her finger and onto Banner's head for just a moment. It is there and then vanishes. And essentially, you would have the charm of Zybilna allowing you to alter self as much as you would like, so that you can have a mouth.
Awesome.
A mouth, a nervous system that can become high.
Well, look, in what is a horrifying image to Adam, as once this is completed, Banner thinks about it, and he now looks exactly like Banner with that leather disc on his face. And if you remember, the leather disc only encompasses like the eyes and the nose, and underneath it is a genuine like humanoid mouth there, right? And he puts a cigarette there and puts the cigarette he's been rolling there, and he lights it up, takes a big inhale into nothing, right? And then a big exhale. Says, yes, these taste horrible. Don't know why people... perhaps I will get used to it. I have plenty of time. Thank you very much. Very kind. Which is also strange because you see, like, he's got a humanoid mouth and he's smoking with it, right? But he's not talking with it. The talking is still emanating from whatever, like, it emanates from with Banner. So, and after he finishes that cigarette, he stamps it out and the mouth just disappears.
I love this shit.
Oh my god.
I'm obsessed.
And with you, the only
Emnock, you seem very cold. Look, and Banner puts his hands together and is rubbing them back and forth.
Oh dear God!
You are shaking. You are so. Oh, you're not cold at all. What is going on, Emlock?
just sweating. And takes a moment to compose himself.
Yep. The whole time Zybilna is just looking at you rather knowingly.
My lady, while we've been within your domain, it has been acquired, an item that has offered me some solace from my pursuers. I would like, perhaps, I don't know how much should be required, of your wish, but rather of your favor. Simply that I could remain hidden, perhaps even here or a place like this, that my family may not be able to find me, and neither should anyone else who may be pursuing the artifact that I protect. I don't know how much of their power would be required to ensure such. Destruction of the item might be beyond even your great power, but defense of it seems well within.
Let me see it. Place it here. She gestures to the table in front of her.
He looks around nervously at everyone else who's in the ballroom, the other members of the court and such, and just very, I was gonna say quietly, but with the hooves clipping over the stonework, um, uh, produces the dark tome and sets it on the table with one hand, just less than an inch away from it.
She looks at the cover, doesn't move to touch it or anything, and her there is a brief moment where her eyebrows go up a bit, and with a wave, the doors into the other rooms close. Well, Hemlock, there is. This is a surprise. I remember when this individual was simply another wizard, human and mortal and mundane. It would seem his quest for power has succeeded even more than I had expected, more than I had heard. I can allow you to stay here, and I can do everything in my power to protect this item. It is. While I am in this realm, I might be a match for him. This is, after all, my place, and much of his power derives from followers such as it would seem. And she looks at you, but lets the sentence trail off.
He just nods. Not myself. I am this book's guardian, and while it has imparted with me knowledge, it has only been knowledge that has been, to the best of my own capabilities, been used in the defense of this world and to protect myself and those who have traveled with me.
She thinks for what she thinks for a period that begins to drag on to the point where it's a little awkward because she's kind of standing there. The knowledge you have gleaned from this book is nothing short of impressive. I cannot hide it from him here. It is bound to him, and he to it. But while it is here, as I said, this, and she raises her hands and gestures around, this is my domain. At the beginning, he and I were not so different. Both mortals, both from the same world, as it happens. I will grant you your wish. I will allow you to remain here and this object, both here with you and both of you under my protection. I have one caveat, one request, and you may think about this before you decide whether to agree. The link you have to this object, its connection to you, and through it, your connection to him. This you must forego. While it is here, and while you are here, you are reachable by him. None of my barriers, none of my protections can extend to that bond. I can replace it, that bond.
If
But I
it is that doing such would not render me powerless to ultimately my goal of defending it from any who could misuse it, then I would accept those terms.
can provide you with the power you describe. There are many ways that this can be arranged. For now, perhaps it's best if we move this to a secure area. You have seen the vault in which in which the sword snicker snack was stored. Wow, say that 5 times fast. Perhaps there. And perhaps I should do something about that lock. Seems, well, I might need something a little more secure than simply. Anyway, there is one question before this wish is carried out. There is one last tie that you should consider. And she doesn't she doesn't move or gesture. She just sort of drops her eyes to the pocket where the amulet is stored.
He pulls it out, and says, I have nothing but love for my family, truly. They have done much for me, and I.
I'm sorry. I should have clarified. I don't mean the amulet of non-detection.
Okay.
I mean the Yarrow amulet.
Okay, all right. Yes. Um, he says, I would like to be able to return this to her if it is the case that she must have it, so that she may have what she has lost returned.
Well, your friend there can now take you to and bring you back here. Can take you to your home and bring you back here at any time. Although you will take some getting used to that power, Arlen.
Yeah, it's already pretty weird just looking around and stuff.
You do not require my permission or my power.
Arlen's response to being able to planewalk is, man, you really fucked up my vision.
You know, areas where the planes are easiest to walk through.
Yeah.
You require neither my permission nor my power to make this trip. If you would like me to protect this tome in the meantime, or if you would like to make that trip after our arrangement has been solidified, that is up to you.
we may speak, make our arrangement and deal, and with some time, Arlen, we should do this quickly. She has been long without. I still feel quite guilty.
Zybilna looks down at you. What is it, if I may ask, that you think was taken from her?
If I were to guess, I would think it would be her joy. She was bright, and it was her that brought me to the carnival, and she was delighted, and there was a light that was taken from her when we returned home. I don't know what to expect or what she would be like once it is given to her, but it is unfair that she has had something missing for so much of her life.
She just nods and says nothing else. Well, if you will follow me, we can arrange for this object to be locked away in the vault. I will show you some new wards that can be enacted around it to keep it out of the view of anyone else who might be looking for it other than its creator.
I nod and take a step back, taking the book with me.
Yeah, she makes no effort to pick it up at all, and however many of you follow, she does lead you um, through the hallways and to the to she originally starts to head through the ballroom and to one of the balconies from which you would fly to the central tower, where you all know that the vault is on one of the upper levels. And then thinks for a moment, looks over at all of you, and sort of counts off, like, okay, wings. Realizes that perhaps not all of you can necessarily fly. Wait, does she? Maybe that's the easier answer.
I think we all, well, not Banner still, but everyone else can.
Wait, is everyone looking to fly? I think. Hold on, let me try. And can I use alter self to give myself some wings?
You absolutely can.
Bingo. God, look.
What do the wings look like?
They look exactly like Court's wings, just bigger.
Whoa!
I would love it if, like, where Court has the organic butterfly wings, Banner's mechanical nature means his look like stained glass. That just
Yes!
Yeah, love it. Hell yes.
Quartz are like, I like drew them once. They're like bug wings, so that'd be so sick.
Yeah, love it.
well, that's sorted then. If you will follow me, and into the chest, and that you all had seen, and is still floating beneath the slowly rotating and beautiful form of the great sword Snickersnack. She says nothing about the items that were in there and have been removed, and gestures for you, Hemlock, to place the book within the chest.
I will do so. I'm very scared, actually.
Why would you be afraid?
Are you asking me honest, or
I mean, above table. Like, I'm kind of curious. Like,
I am nervous that this person who seems like everything, like for all intents and purposes, is a changed person. I am deeply concerned that this article of incredible power is going to be the thing that makes her snap.
uh,
I'll put
at,
it in the
at
box.
at least for now, that seems unfounded. As you close the lid to the chest, there is a brief flare of arcane sigils that are hidden beneath the wood. Well, with that taken care of, and the rule of reciprocity satisfied, I welcome you all to stay here as long as you would like. You are always welcome here in the Palace of Heart's Desire. There is still much for me to do to repair my realm of Prismere. I have been gone for a long time, and the damage my late sisters have wrought upon my land has been extensive. I do appreciate the efforts that you underwent on your journey here. I have spent some time uh, at, uh, peering into my cauldron and seeing the way your journey, the route that your journey took you.
All right.
Your dispatch of Agden, his lesson seemingly not learned after being pinned to the tree. Your efforts with my sisters. I accidentally muted myself. I, I'm sure our mother will at some point endeavor to return them. But for now, the world is better. The multiverse is safer without them. If there is anything you require, you have only to speak to the staff here. I have much work to do, and I will be indisposed for a time.
Thank you.
Unless there is any last minute things, last minute conversations with Sibilna or with each other, we can take a quick break and then come back and get to epiloguing.
Yeah.
Bye.
Okay, I'm making a mess now. Flipping Pop-Tarts. Okay. With the rule of reciprocity satisfied, you all are still welcome guests of Zabilna at the Palace of Heart's Desire. You see her relatively infrequently, however, as much of her time and effort is spent doing as she said, repairing the damage that has been done to Prismere, as well as accommodating the guests that you all have seen, not just here in the palace, but those individuals who waited outside for unknowable years uh, in the garden while Zabilna is frozen or was frozen. You see them marched through one at a time into the same um, into the same meeting room where the four of you had your wishes granted by Zybilna, and it is very easy at that point for anyone except Hemlock to lose track of exactly how long you have spent here at the palace. Eventually, however, time and desire draws each of you back to or into the rest of your time, back to the mortal worlds, back to the many things that remain unfinished, either within the Witchlight Carnival, back in Flane, or elsewhere in the multiverse, a place in which you find yourselves, uh, certainly one of you in particular, but all of you after a fashion, with a place you find yourselves with far more freedom to actually explore. I suppose then the first order of business, and perhaps the most immediate thing, is Hemlock. The book, uh, the tome which your parents had acquired and which you stole, now removed from your possession. Much of its power still remains. You know how to do these things. Although Zybilna, true to her word, is willing to teach you other ways, new ways to make sure that you maintain, as you requested, the power to defend it and defend the people who are important to you from the efforts of the cult of Vecna, including the portion of that cult run by none other than your own family. But there is always the one final pull, that last little. It's not even a tie. It's more of a thorn, a thing embedded that you know you must resolve. You know you have to deal with it, and yet there is at least a little bit of uncertainty on what and how that exactly will be done. The hourglass amulet, which uh, maintains its hold on whatever was taken from your sister Yarrow. It doesn't physically get heavier, but you can certainly feel the strain and the pull of this object.
I need to return to Flane.
Yeah.
Arlen, could you at least help me get there? I don't expect any of you to follow all the way.
Do you want us to come?
I wouldn't want any harm to come to any of you, and I can't promise that it won't.
But do you want us to come?
I think I would.
Say no more.
Arlen, is this something that you are now capable of?
Who was that to?
I believe.
Oh, okay. I think Tyler might have missed it.
Arlen, is it something that you are now capable of?
Getting us somewhere in particular. I mean, I might be able to like look, I don't want to actually like drop us like in the middle of something we shouldn't be. So maybe we just like test run to a field kind of outside of places or something.
Uh,
I don't know
mean,
the specifics.
there's a lake near the city. I'm not saying go to the lake, but on the side of it there should be significant clearing.
It might be not a bad idea to go with somewhere that like I'm kind of familiar with. So maybe like the place where the witch light was that one time.
Yes, very same.
Those
All
two
right.
times.
Yes, indeed.
Probably more than that, actually. But yes.
Okay, well, I mean, let's see what happens. Everybody hold hands.
Yeah.
Hold on. Clank. Rub, 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 rub. Okay, I am ready.
Take their hands and try to planeswalk to Faerun.
Functionally, it is the plane shift spell. There is a weird feeling of being pulled sideways, as though the entirety of yourself is compacted and then suddenly expands again. And you find yourselves standing on a hill overlooking the city of Flame, straight out the main gate with which court you are exceptionally familiar. And Banner, not far from where you yourself sat, outside the bounds of the Witchlight Carnival's entrance, immoving for 8 years. There is a feeling of, there is a certain electricity in the air, as though a storm is not far off and moving into the area. And there is the smell, that sort of dry dust getting kicked up right before a storm hits, that very earthy smell that you realize is something that in all your time in Prismere, the rushing back of these sorts of feelings and senses really drives home how different, how almost alien that is. And as the storm as the storm clouds in the distance, well in the distance but still visible, begin to roll in, I say roll in, as they begin to move through the sky, even that has a very different feel to the omnipresent storms you experienced while you were in Yon. There is no one around this hill, this area overlooking the main gate. The road goes by around to either side of this particular hill, which is topped with all of the trees that, excuse me, have stayed in their place this time, and have despite the shade they cast, a certain nostalgia feel to them. The sense of being back on your home plane.
The manor's this way. And I'll start leading the way through town. I am wearing I'm going to remove the boots of flying, and have been attuned to the amulet of non-detection.
Like retreading a path you have taken 1,000 times, having been away for however long you have been gone. And by your reckoning, you have been gone no more than a few months, at the absolute most. But here, you can feel that the seasons have at least changed. And not just from not just from fall into the winter, but you have passed through winter, possibly passed through spring and into the early bits of summer.
Uh-oh.
The town, however, is much as you remember it. Little seems to have actually changed. There are a couple. You notice as you walk through town that there are a couple people who are doing like a double take as your group walks and or flies through the streets. There is a bit of, what's that? No, maybe, but it's hard to say which of you that is for. Whether it is for the return of one of the larger families of Flame, whether it is for the incredibly large automaton that I assume your crate is still strapped to your back.
Hell yeah, it is.
Whether the fairy in a delightfully bright, I'm assuming delightfully bright clown
Oh, yeah.
costume,
Oh, yes.
or whether the young Harengan who you all have for you all there is little visible change in Arlen, but it is very apparent after after some streets in the town that everyone else can get a sense that there is something different. Even if they haven't known Arlen, there is a power that radiates from him following his shifting to this plane. It is something that that flashes in a moment. That and maybe that's the double take, as everyone goes, wait, is that? No, that's a little, that's a rabbit in a not a rabbit. That's a Harengan in a suit. No, it couldn't be. And as the buzz around you all fades and then follows and then fades again and then revives, you take a very familiar path, a path you have walked several times, whether in attempt to avoid a family carriage ride or simply because you were lost in your own thoughts. And you find yourselves once again, or you find yourself rather, Hemlock, and the others are with you, finding yourselves at the end of a street, basically a block away from the entrance to Cross Hollow Estates. The large wrought iron gates are closed. The yard beyond, there are still your family's guards posted by the entrance, and the large cobble driveway, basically, which not so long ago a carriage deposited the vulture-headed guest of your parents who brought the book that started so much of your journey.
I am frozen for a moment, looking up, and then make my way to actually one of the guards.
I grab your hand, and also it is also very, very, very fucking cold.
That's okay. Hemlock has never been warm a day in his life.
So neither has Courtfit. Hang on, I'm trying to show that little silly thing.
Plot twist: Court has been undead this whole time as well.
No, one of my little quirks is this. I feel like I've only mentioned it like once in the entire campaign.
You have blue skin. I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there it is. There you go.
Oh,
I
interesting.
mentioned it once, like I think this whole entire time.
Does that mean Arlen's the only person who has warm hands, like,
Mhm.
consistently?
Yep.
When I was sitting on dinner,
The-
making it
the
worse.
furry one.
Warm-blooded mammal over here.
Yep.
Not anymore.
Court
Um,
tries to do what Banner's doing, rubbing his hands together.
As you make your way to the entrance to Cross Hollow Estates, at first the guards move to bar your passage, and and then when you get closer, there is a very obvious look of surprise, and they snap back to attention. And the one closest to you, and a human male you do not recognize, but who has clearly been informed of who you are, just begins to stutter a greeting as Master, you must be Master Hemlock. Well, welcome to Cross Hollow Estates. Welcome home.
Could you, could you, I, I need to speak with Yarrow. If you could fetch her for me, that would be appreciated.
Yes, of course. Your mother has asked to be notified the moment you have returned. I will let the two of them know that you are here.
He bites his lip, but then just nods.
He turns, and the other guard pulls back on the gate, which slides open just enough for this first guard to get through. And he goes darting inside, just like drops his spear against the wall and goes full on running as best he can in his armor.
I kind of like whisper, I kind of murmur to myself, enough for other people to hear. You'd think, given the mistress of the house, they'd be a little bit more discerning with strangers coming to the door, but apparently not.
You wait in sort of awkward silence with this other guard who is, if you've seen him before, you have no idea. Like, there were so many guards. This is not a thing that you keep track of. And certainly, well, I guess with keen mind you would remember, but you might, you know, if you ever paid attention.
It's just one of those things. That person works here, and then breezing, forgotten.
And for his part, this other guard is doing his best. He's doing that thing where he's like trying not to look at you, but every time he realizes that he's been like not looking at you too long, he looks at you, and then it's all back and forth and weird. And
It's okay, I'm
couple
doing the same
times,
thing.
yeah, a couple times he clears his throat like he's gonna say something, and then it's just like, and doesn't. And so, for what feels like an eternity, a time longer than your entire trip to Prismere, you stand there. But it is, in fact, only a few minutes before, with practically a shriek, the figure of Valentine Thirstborn barrels through the door in a display of energy and emotion that is not entirely unknown to you, but certainly on a higher level than you have. There is a certain amount of loss of control that is both startling and also a little endearing. Like, this is one of your parents, and trailing along behind with a fairly, at first, a fairly placid expression, but then seeing you and sort of squinting, and you are fairly certain that there is some sort of magic going on, but eventually apparently deciding that this is in fact you, your sister Yarrow, a huge smile just beams across her face, and she begins to skip down the stairs, chasing after your mother, who has barreled down the steps all the way, down the walkway, and is halfway to the gate before the guard realizes, oh shit, I should open this before there is just a person running through metal. And in a moment, you are snatched up in the arms of Valentine. Oh, my boy, my boy.
Hello.
Where have... Oh, you had me worried sick. I had your sister try to contact you, and then we couldn't find you. We scryed. We said, where have you been? What? Tell me, who are these people? What have you done with my son?
They're my friends. They are my friends. They are good people who have helped. I'm sorry, my feet aren't on the ground. Mother, could you please put me down?
Absolutely not. And she begins to carry you inside.
Gotta kick
Oh,
those
you're so
more
strong.
kneecaps.
Let them in. Let them in. I shout over her shoulder towards the guard, like gesturing for everyone else to follow.
Y'all following?
Yeah,
Yeah.
hell yeah.
I'm scurrying after, being like, put him down.
Valentine's progress is stopped only when she and Yarrow are at the same point, at which point Yarrow also joins in what is essentially a giant hug. There is certainly less pressure from Yarrow. She is not crushing you the way that your mother is doing, but it does seem a genuine display of excitement that you are home. And as you are eventually set down, but not released, like Valentine maintains a grip on your arm, Yarrow falls in on the other side of you and just begins speaking as though nothing has happened, as though you were not gone for apparently months. She just begins to describe the events that have transpired at Cross Hollow, about the guest's ire that the thing had been taken, about her attempts to scry on you, about seeing for a brief time the fantastical world that you were in, all delivered with the even tone and sort of rapid fire delivery of someone giving a presentation. One moment. All right, I'm back. I apologize. And unless you are going to make any effort to not go into the house, she will lead you back into the sitting room that you are fairly familiar with, past the main library, to the room where not so long ago this book was resting and a person was manacled to a stone altar. Now, that portion of the room remains hidden behind what you know to be the secret the secret wall.
Mhm.
And you all are escorted into the room with the same even toned, rapid fire delivery of happenings from Yarrow. It was ever so strange coming back from the carnival and then We had our meeting with the guest, and she only ever refers to him as the guest. Uh, and for her part, Valentine the whole time is asking her own series of questions, but not waiting for actual answers. Just, where have you been? What have you been doing? What happened? How did you meet these people? Who are they? Why are they here? Just trying to fit months worth of time into as many seconds, or rather, into as few seconds as possible.
I well, I have been away might be oversimplifying. It's just that there was an opportunity that there were people who were in danger, and there were things that I could do about it, and there was something that was missing that had to be returned, and I've come to give it to you. And I go into my pocket to retrieve the hourglass amulet, uh, and waiting for them to kind of settle themselves so that they can actually listen. I say, you know, years ago, the first time we were at the carnival, a trickster took something from both of us. I don't know what it is that might have been taken from you, but mine was relatively trivial. But as it stood, it was still something that was taken, and I don't believe anyone ought to be left with any part of them missing. Um, this is yours. I don't know what it is. And he extends the amulet to her.
From the time you pulled it out, her eyes have been locked on it, as though the same sensation that many of you experienced with, whether it was the quiet murmuring of an invisible audience, whether it was the steady tick 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 of a wind up toy, or the croak of a a of a toad-like creature itching at the back of your minds. That, it is clear to you, is what has drawn her to this. As though there is some sensation that she has that none of the rest of you feel. But which, by proximity, has become almost unbearable. And you hold the amulet out to her, and she stands there, staring at it. She doesn't move. She doesn't even raise a hand. She looks at it, and it is clear that this understanding is on there, but she makes no move to take it herself. She looks over at you and just says, "What will happen?"
I don't know. I have no way of knowing.
She does not move. She stands, eyes locked on this amulet, which, as you are holding it, you realize that the grains of sand in the hourglass have all fallen to one side of it. And while that is now the top side of the hourglass, none of the grains of sand fall. They are stuck in place in the top of the hourglass. She looks at you. She looks at Valentine. She looks at each of you in turn. And it is not until Valentine says, "Well, go on, Yarrow, take it," that she crosses the room and takes the amulet from your hands. As with each of you that have experienced this, oh, fuck. As with each of you that have experienced this, there is no flash of light. There is no release of magic. There is only the change in expression on her face that says that whatever sensory experience has quietly and distantly plagued her for this time has gone silent. And with a look of dawning relief, she looks to each of you, looks finally at you, Hemlock. Well, I think I will go lie down now. I would like to go lie down. And without a further word, but with a look of complete surprise from Valentine, she just leaves the room. And you are left with your friends and your mother, who is still seated immediately next to you. She has loosened her grip on your arm, or she has removed her grip on her arm. But with you forced into a chair, she is sitting on the arm of the chair so that she is directly next to you. And she turns her head. For the rest of you, it's a little uncomfortable as her head turns probably way more than it should to watch Yarrow leave the study. And she looks down at you, Hemlock, and just says, "It's been months since that child would do anything without being told. What have you done to her? What have you done, Hemlock?"
Hey,
I gave her what was taken.
Since that night that you vanished, since the day before, I suppose, you were both different, her more so than you. What is it that you said yours was trivial, but something was still taken from you? Who? I need to know who hurt my children.
I have already killed them. They have brought much harm to more than just us. And it became very important for the freedom of the people who they reigned over that they be removed from their power. He's looking up at her and making eye contact, which is highly unusual for him.
Her eyes. You are familiar with the look on her face when her eyes have begun to harden, and there is something sort of bubbling underneath. And with a little effort, you can see that she is controlling that. Slain is not enough. I need the name of whoever hurt my children. We will speak to our Lord, and what remains of them shall be consumed. Now tell me, Hemlock, who hurt my children? Who threatened them?
It doesn't matter anymore.
Peers down at you. At first, you are certain that she is about to erupt. Like there will be the same. There will be a measure of frustrated or angry shouting, but she gets it under control and just looks at you, and you have changed, Hemlock. Whatever you have done, wherever you have been, it's done you good. But you're home now, and so we can begin again. We will put all of this behind us. You are home. Yarrow is, you said, made whole. We, the Thirstborns, are whole again. Your father will be ecstatic.
I have more work to do. I will not be staying.
Nonsense. You've only just gotten back.
Yes, and until such time as you can appreciate the brief and integral beauty of the mortal moment, I shall be spending as much time as needs be providing for those who are less fortunate, and that I have the power to help.
I walk over and I just like come on over to the chair and hold Hemlock's hand again. Super cash.
On the other side of Hemlock, Valentine stares daggers at you.
I just raised my eyebrows at her.
We
Hemlock.
have been the cause of harm and violence and death in the community of Flame, and I won't tolerate it any further.
Looking as though she has just been slapped in the face full on, she still does not move, but her grip on your arm tightens to almost painful levels of somebody who is just not aware that they are squeezing. Everything we have done, everything that we have accomplished here is for this family to stay together, and I have lost you not once, but twice, and I will not be losing you a third time. Hemlock, you are going to stay here. You are going to stay here at home with your family where you belong.
I have been promised safety and earnest security that does not come at the cost of lives of others. Would have let Yarrow, a child, kill for the blood used to see beyond our own sight. She deserves better.
all of you can see as at the same moment that Valentine's face goes from a plastered on smile to practically a snarl, it is not just a change of emotion. There is a physical change as the human face falls away and is in a moment the almost not bestial, but there is an almost infernal quality to the result as Valentine's temper breaks. She deserves her family, Hemlock. She deserves you here. You were gone once. You were gone all the way, and if it took 1,000 sacrifices to bring my family back, then I would sacrifice 1,000 people. Your friends must go. You will stay.
No. None of that.
I mean, you can
No,
lock
I think we're
whenever you wanna
good.
blow this
Bounce.
joint. I mean, just let me know.
I do try to move. We can't teleport out. She has a grip on me. She would just come with us. But I do try to take her hand off of me.
I believe I'm going to call for an athletics check.
Ooh.
You know what? I didn't take any teleporting spells, or else I would just pop out of here.
I'm pretty sure Planeship does allow you to specify the people, though, doesn't it?
I
Because
have-
that is what Arlen
You-
does.
I have
and up to
Misty
8
Step. Do you want a
willing
Misty Step?
creatures.
I don't think you can make me Misty Step.
I'm sorry, what was that, Tyler?
You and up to 8 willing creatures who link hands in a circle. So, like, we would all have to, like, if we can make a circle, but with just the 4 of us in it, even if she's grabbing one of our hands, then it doesn't matter.
What about?
I also don't want to leave here yet.
Yeah. What about what's her name?
Yarrow, yeah.
Yarrow. We can't leave without her.
But I'll make an athletics check.
I saw the 5 pop up, not thinking that it was the DM. I was like, oh no.
That was me just making a maybe I'll get lucky rolling on my table. I am going to take tail number 4, Tale of the Runaway.
In a moment that you stand up, you are able to wrench your arm rather out of Valentine's grip, and it is hard to say whether the look of surprise as her face returns to air quotes Mom Valentine is more surprise or simply hurt that you are pulling away, like not physical hurt, but emotional hurt.
You can surrender this power, this effort now, or you will never see me again.
The only answer is sobs and tears as she tries to speak and is largely going through a now repeated litany of I lost you, I cannot lose you again, Hemlock, don't do this, like you need to stay so we can be a family, we just got Yarrow back, you can't do this.
I am going after her. I am going after my sister.
Yeah, I'm going with him.
Banner's going to stay with Valentine.
Arlen, which way are you going?
I'll stay here with Banner then.
Um, Valentine practically collapses on the floor, sobbing. Like there is a certain feeling of the floodwaters have breached the dam, and this will take a moment of recovery. Hemlock, you know exactly where your sister's room is. This is your home, and it's not difficult to find her. She is seated in her room with her back to the door at her desk. Although she has a pen in her hand, she's not writing anything. She's just sort of sitting there.
I cast Detect Thoughts, and I, and while I will be reading, like I will have her surface thoughts like at my disposal, I am not going to use them immediately. I'm just going to telepathically tell her, "You can choose to leave. You can come with me somewhere safe. Stay here, but do only what you wish."
Do what I wish. That's what I have been missing for all this time. Not my will. I could still do things for myself, but I had no desires, no drive, no initiative. Anything that I was told to do, I did. Send to your brother, Yarrow. Scry on your brother, Yarrow. Find your brother, Yarrow. We must find Hemlock, Yarrow. In this world you were in, this place, this domain to which you fled and left me behind.
He did that for you, though, so you could get it back.
The two of us, we went into the carnival together. We were stolen from, not together, but closely. But only one of us left.
Well, he's offering for you to leave now. We don't want to put you in danger. It wasn't exactly a picnic over there. He's trying to help you. Also, it sounds like you couldn't have said no if you. It sounds like you wouldn't have had a choice if he asked you.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I could not see that you weren't being asked to do anything. Sorry that I couldn't and didn't protect you the way I should have, but I want to now. I will if you would like.
He sets the pen down and stands very slowly. Does not turn to face you. I think I shall find what it is that I like on my own. I have had months of doing what I was told, months of being left behind. I would have followed you. It's true, I would have had no choice in the matter at the time, but even if I had, I would have followed you, as I always did. But now, Hemlock, I am done following you. I think you should go.
Okay, buddy.
The timing on that. You're good. You're good.
I don't say anything. I just turn and I go back down. And when we're back in the study, I say out loud, "I love you, Mother. I hope that you find peace." We should go.
She does not answer, but does reach out her hands.
I go to my pocket and I place in her hand the music box that has a deer carved onto it that plays music. And I give her little hands a squeeze. And then I look at Arlen and Banner.
Speaking of Arlen and Banner, while Hemlock was gone, was there anything that you all were doing with Valentine, or just waiting to make sure she didn't follow?
Mostly just waiting to make sure she didn't follow. Probably at some point, Banner probably rolled the cigarette and put it out on like a side table and said, "Some people find them soothing."
Okay. Arlen, are you taking everybody somewhere else?
Well, what's the destination?
Arlen, I can't tell you that out loud.
Oh yeah. Well, how about okay? You know what? I won't say anything either. And I'll begin casting. And do I know what world the Witchlight Carnival is in presently?
I feel like that is definitely something you could know. Yes, you guys were
Okay.
in Prismere, to which it is linked before you came here. So absolutely.
What is this sign that says 5 miles sigil?
I will cast plane shift to the Witchlight Carnival in whatever world it is in presently.
You find yourselves, all of you, standing outside the bridge, or on outside of the Witchlight Carnival, at the edge of the bridge, which crosses over the Blue Ribbon River, which you all know winds its way around and through the Witchlight Carnival. The pristine gondola swans swim with guests, laughing children, and you can even spot the one that dumped you in the water, having a very animated conversation with a burly bugbear in dungarees and a book tucked under his arm. You all are standing in a desert world. The sand all around you, blowing in the wind. The heat just unbearably hot from a scorching sun. And as you appear, the familiar sight to at least, well, to all of you, really, but the the homecoming for at least two of you is a small wagon with a blue and white striped umbrella on top, a handwritten sign painted in black ink that says "Tickets here," and the sound of a goblin barker calling out from inside the wagon. Come on, ladies and gentlemen, kids, all ages. Tickets, one silver piece for an 8 punch, or you can get 2 of them. You can get 2 of them for. Wait, who the? Is that?
Hey.
Oh man, Court, you are so fired.
Nuh-uh.
Arlen, you two. Where have you?
No, we had a deal. We had a deal. They didn't tell you that we were going. Jesus, come on. That's a guy. Sorry, that's a friend of mine. Jesus. They did.
My friend Jesus.
That's divine.
Yeah, knows Madoka. Don't worry about it. Did they really just let us go and then not say anything to anyone? Be like, oh, I don't know where they go. Hey, Nikki. Hey.
I caught Arlen.
Like, I told my parents, like, did you ask them at all where we were? Because they knew.
No one talked to you?
I was there when you left.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm remembering that now.
Yeah. I'm still firing you. You're both so fired.
Hey.
Come on, get in
No.
here. Get in here.
You know what?
kid.
Good. I'm out of here anyways. You know what? I was going to quit.
Is there something Banner can flip over?
Other than the ticket booth, there is nothing within
Oh, no.
immediate reach. Since you all are still on the Athos Dark Sun world side of the bridge. But Nikki the Goblin, the ticket barker whom you all have seen before, practically just the big shit-eating grin on his face as he hops out of the ticket booth, leaving a very confused individual standing there with a coin in his hand. As this goblin hops down, leaning heavily on a cane. All right, come on, get over here. Get over here.
Fly like directly into him, like barrel him, like.
Okay, okay, I really am old. You can't keep doing that. I think I broke something. All right.
Notice something? Notice something? Notice something? Notice something? I'm twirling around, like in the air, flying.
That is a very nice new outfit. That is. Yeah.
I spin faster in the air.
You changed your face makeup. You got a new hat.
I'm gonna barrel you right on over again, sir.
They look great. They look great, kid.
Hey, thanks. I land on my tiptoes and like do little poses.
Well, I think I could put these two. You two still work here. You're fine. I think I could put these two. And he produces a ticket and holds it. He produces it like sleight of hand magician style, whoop, out of nowhere, and holds them up to Hemlock and Banner. Just so we don't have any.
Oh, yes, of course.
Just to be safe, we don't want those things coming back again.
Right? Can you break a gold? Can you break a gold?
No, these are on the house. I'm just giving you a ticket. I can do that.
Wait, why do we need a ticket for my carnival?
I mean, you are the Witchlight Monarch for another couple of years, but you don't own the carnival. I thought we made that clear last time.
Oh, that's right. I guess it is wishful thinking. Why didn't I wish for it? Oh, son of a bitch.
That was something she even suggested. She
No, but
brought
I
it up directly.
Right, but why would I wish for it when I thought I owned it? But for some reason, I keep getting confused. Not everyone has the memory that you have, Hemlock. Why didn't you remind me?
I
Yes, I will take the ticket. Thank you very much.
Leaving a small line at the ticket booth, Nikki leads you all through the carnival, past many of the rides and games that you all played. Not super long ago, but certainly a time ago, a very different time ago. Leads you past the Hall of Illusions, leads you past the lake. Leads you past the lake where Palasha performs the same the same beautiful song from the giant golden glass. I don't want to use the word fishbowl, but fishbowl that from which she was performing. Although you can see nearby Candlefoot no longer or at least maybe he's supposed to be manning the Hall of Illusion ticket booth, but is instead staring at her as she sings. He leads you past some of the rides and the games, leads you past a rejuvenated lily pad frogs game, and takes you back to the staff area through the giant bramble fence that separates the wagons of the staff of the Witchlight Carnival from the rest of the from the public areas. And with the end of his cane, knocks on the door at the rear of the largest of the wagons, and the door opens slowly, and inside are the two Shatterkai, Witch and Light, seated at a table. Well, Light is seated at a table, Witch is the one that opened the door. And he starts a little bit when he sees all of you, and then swings the door open. Well, come on.
I give him a big hug.
So you all didn't die in Prismia then? That's...
No, we did. Woo! We totally did. Ah.
I turn into a ghost. No, I don't.
All right, Court. Good to see you. Come on in, all of you. So it looks like things were a success then. You got your wings back. I don't know, Arlen, your foot's back. I don't really know the two of you, so I don't know what was missing. But and he pulls out a handkerchief and mops his head a little bit. What can we do for you? What brings you here to the Witchlight?
Well, we were just escaping from my house. But Arlen, is there any anything that either of you
Uh,
need here?
y-
I
y-
mean, I'm probably
My
gonna see my parents for sure.
my job.
There we
Yeah.
go.
All you've been through, and you want to come back to swing trapeze?
Yeah. Aren't
He looks genuinely surprised for a moment, but shrugs. No,
aren't
All right.
Glister and Gleam? They're back, right?
Yeah, came back before we got here to Athos.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where we were, but yeah, they're back. Hurley's here as well. Hurley, whichever of the twins, brothers. Nikki,
Yeah.
are they twins or brothers? They're just brothers, witch.
And little star.
Erlegren was beside themselves. You all did good. You'll have to tell us all about it.
Yeah, I'm sure I could put together a little story. Tyler I just rub my hands together schemingly, and I'm realizing I was going to do that.
Oh no, we heard it. You can hear it.
Yeah, we did.
But yeah. Oh, I guess I know this is maybe going to come as a surprise, and I promise, it's not you, it's me, but I am, I think, going to be putting in my 2 weeks notice. Again, this place is great, and I really appreciate the opportunities that I've had here. But I think that it's just time for me to take, my act on kind of a solo kind of gig. I'll be sure to stop in every once in a while. I know where home is.
He sizes you up and down a little bit. Well, I thought it'd be another year or so. Whatever happened. You're always welcome at the Witchlight.
Yeah. Well, I'll probably, maybe the filling in stuff might happen later. I think, it's my parents would probably be upset if I don't go and see them pretty quick. So I'll catch you later. And he starts heading off to his parents' trailer.
At which you find a warm and joyous reunion. Your mother is certainly surprised that the charm that she had placed on you before you left is still there and untouched. I thought for sure you'd eat yourself sick in a place like that. Oh, my boy.
Oh, well, I get, I kind of did, but it's one of those things where, if you're gonna eat an entire peach cobbler and a gallon of ice cream, you should feel bad about it later, But I was saving it just in case, and we didn't really get into any terrible places where I couldn't deal with the consequences, but is very appreciated still. And I'll start just filling them in on the whole saga, the story, and kind of in a way using telling them about everything that happened to put off telling them that my plan is not to stay here.
Your parents listen enraptured, a mixture of delight, terror, and genuine pride as you start your tale.
I spare the goriest of the details.
Where you start your tale where it began in Prismere, on a raised platform of the Broken Queen's Way. And as the tale goes on, and as we pull away from the Witchlight Carnival and back to the domain of Prismere, as you tell of each part of your journey, the Broken Queen's Way is now once again whole, bringing people from the portal of the Witchlight straight through the realm and into the Palace of Heart's Desire. You talk about the the first meeting of Jebek and the rescue of Sir Talavar, the fairy dragon from Slanty Tower, now restored, upright, serving once again as as its original purpose, a meeting place for dignitaries coming in off the Queensway, a stone's throw from where Telemy Hill should sit, and Jingle Jangle the goblin rests, sleeps peacefully, her cave glittering with reflected firelight off of all of the keys, which are no longer in a giant pile and scattered throughout her home, but hung carefully, lovingly on the wall on little hooks, a strange sort of wallpaper for her home. Over Brigand's Highway, or Brigand's Tollway, rather, which no longer a base for Agden Longscarf, you can see the Harengan there, the stalls restored to the market as Jebek and the others said they would. The workers from the unnamed village coming in for supplies as they go about their business of returning to their work in their mines. We sail over Downfall, where a pair of bullywugs argue over who should be seating in the throne. Meanwhile, the the placid-faced crocodile that has served as a pet for so long is seated there, a crown haphazardly resting on one side of its head, oblivious to the arguments going on. You gloss over some of the details of the destruction of Bavlorna, of the end of the middle sister of the Witchlight Coven, the spirit of the present that is or was tied to her control of Hither, but can barely contain yourself when it comes to the balloon ride up and over the mountains through mist so thick that you could barely see through it, down into the Wayward Pool. And the two unicorns who reunited and together again rest in the shade of a giant oak tree, now silent but still hanging, still hung rather, with rope swings and all sorts of platforms and delights. The tree himself seated, slumbering almost, its roots just dipping into the waters of the Wayward Pool. Loomlurch itself, as with Bavlorna, the details of Skabatha's death are glossed over a little bit. No one needs to know about that. But what was once a factory staffed with kidnapped children, all of whom we see have been safely returned to their home and their time by Zybilna, whose protection of the children in her domain has kept many of them from being harmed at all. Loomlurch itself now, as not candle. As a certain goblin with a toffee apple head barks at many of the stall owners who begin setting up the tents of the night market, their strange candy delights filling rack upon rack, as the inhabitants of thither, the many of the goblins who make this place their home, the nymphs and dryads whose trees are now safe, the creatures who live and now prosper in thither find their way in for delights, and the work that they find creating now joyous things instead of the horrid toys that you saw being made in Lumich. The trip to Fable Rise especially shocks them. The idea of a giant storytelling spider. And on this, your parents linger on questions for a while. Eh, Can we go there? Do you think we might have our own not carnival certainly, but we could have our own performance, our own show, our own something to the stories he tells. That sounds like a lovely place. Not that the Witchlight isn't wonderful, of course.
I mean, it's definitely possible. I can put in a good word. I'm sure. Think things were a little tense whenever we left, for sure. Safety of the domain and all that. But now that Prismere's kind of safer, things might get a little more lax. But I'm sure we could talk about visiting. It's a pretty place and all the creatures are lovely.
Your father hushes her. Just let the boy speak. Keep telling us. And you do. You go over your trip through the mountains of Yon, finding the my brain has shut down. Finding the Corrids is the word I'm looking for at Lockberry Henge, and no longer fearing for themselves, no longer being harvested for their hair. They gather around the henge, each clan at their own obelisk or henge, each waiting for a victor to be declared in a game of chess between Argantul and the leader of the Chalk clan. And when Argantul is once again victorious, as she was and would have been when you arrived, they once again break out into the dance that you all know is still there, still imparted to you, still in your minds, even though its reach is not, even though the reach for the actual hair is perhaps well beyond your grasp. There is the joy that memory brings. You talk about seeing the puppet show, and you find your way through to talking about the Briganock mine and the chasm of wishes that you saw, knowing full well that at this point, somewhere deep within that mine, 4 new gems have been created. 4 gems waiting for discovery by the little Briganocks, one for each of the wishes you made in the Palace of Heart's Desire, knowing that none of them will encounter the fate of being thrown into the chasm to light up the bridge across which Keg sits, balancing the little house in which Obud lives, and from which he sees his visions. Through to Motherhorn, where the lightning no longer arcs across giant lightning rods, and the orrery has been almost certainly by now dismantled. And we see there that there is a production of a sort going on. The goblins have once again gone down to the stage room and are painting and cutting and building all sorts of backdrops to be lifted by the cranes, this time willingly operated by Chorids, using their dance to move these heavy items up from the scene room and up to the stage, on which a familiar human woman calls out orders, no longer snapping and striking at these goblins, but instead issuing orders and commands.
No.
All of which are followed with no hesitation and no fear. And as you can see that many of the inhabitants of or the individuals that you met at the Palace of Heart's Desire are now waiting in the audience, observing what is sure to be a great rehearsal. They're the actors and actresses, all of whom you have, well, most of whom you have met and rescued from the Hag Endelin, prepare and go over their lines and take their direction from Charme. And as your story finishes, and as your parents release a breath that they have been holding since their interruption, as you talk about your trip through the Palace of Heart's Desire, you talk about the life and death fight with the Jabberwock, the epic battle and defeat of the League, a group of villains from another world. As you relive the moments in which you were granted your wish by Zabil, the collective relief comes not just from your parents, but from a number of the Witchlight staff, all of whom have gathered outside the open door of your parents' wagon. Even faces you know who were on this trip. You see Gleam and Glister, Hurley and Burley. Even at the back of the crowd, the cranky clown Thaco waits, blowing bubbles from his pipe, enraptured by
That's terrible.
everything that you have had to say. And as you finish your tale, and there is both a collective sigh, a release of breath, and a wild cheer from everyone who is listening. The celebrations that take place at the Witchlight Carnival that night. The carnival is kept a day past when it should normally leave. No guests from outside, no one from the world of Athos is allowed in. Instead, the carnival operates and stays open just for you. You and the staff chatting and laughing and just having the best time as Northwind the Treant, who has grown considerably in the months that you were gone, and whose branches and hair now spans another 2 feet each direction past what it was. As the little red squirrel that lives in his upper reaches throws down the same gifts and the same acorns and gifts as Northwind himself plucks out the flowers that you all received on your first time visiting the Witchlight Carnival, your first full day as official guests. In the soft moors of Hither, not far from a village once abandoned that now teems with families who have returned, resting by a clear crescent-shaped lake, clutched in the hand of what remains of a treant, a similar yellow blossom, identical to the ones that Northwind now passes out to all of you again, urging you each to make a little wish and then blow the petals out. From a split in the arm of what was once a treant, now resting beside this lake, green vines make their way, slowly but surely, into the light of the twilight sky of Prismere. Growing quietly up the arm, little leaves popping up every now and then. And finally, at the end of one finger of the hand that clutches a flower, left there so long ago, a single further yellow blossom, a first sign of new life. There is a moment of where the lights all remain out. There is nothing but dark and silence. A curtain drops behind a figure in a white and red harlequin suit, bells jangling from his feet, from the jester hat, and from the weather vane that he holds in one hand. The lights come up. There is a roar from an audience. We thank you all for coming to this presentation of The Wilds Beyond the Witchlight. We hope you have enjoyed this story. We hope you have enjoyed this tale of harrowing deeds, of noble heroes, of great machines. And remember, every wish can become something so much more. You never know where those gems might end up, who they might help. So wish, my friends, wish big. Wish for greatness. And perhaps the next time we tell this story, you will be the heroes.
And then the crowd goes fucking wild.
Thank you, everybody.
It
Thank you
was-
for
it was
playing this
wonderful.
game.
Huzzah!
Beautiful work as always, Ted.
Sorry for the extended monologue at the end.
It
You
was
apologize?
fantastic. It was great.
Try apologize one more fucking time. See what happens. See what happens. See what happens.
I do hope everybody had a good time. I do
Oh,
hope this
absolutely.
wraps up